Hello and welcome to another Moog demo library. In today's video, we're going to be exploring Messenger, and in particular, we're going to look at how interconnectivity with a second instrument can enhance the functionality of Messenger. So for this example, we're going to be using a lot of the I/O in the back and DFAM, and I currently have 4 connections that I've set up between these 2 instruments. The first thing I've done is connected the audio output from the back of DFAM to the external input on Messenger, and this is going to allow us to route the audio from DFAM through the filter and VCA on Messenger. Next, I have the pitch row CV output on DFAM connected to the expression pedal input. And this means that when DFAM's running, we'll be able to use this top row of the sequencer to control a parameter of our choosing on Messenger. Next, I have the trig out from DFAM fed to the clock input on Messenger, and this is going to allow us to sync Messenger's sequencer to the tempo of DFAM. And lastly, I have the CV output from Messenger fed to the voltproctive input of oscillator 2 in the DFAM, so that when the sequencer is playing, it will also be controlling this oscillator. So on the Messenger side, there's a few things that I want to do to prep this interaction in the settings menu. The first thing that I want to do is adjust where expression is routed, because by default in an init patch, it's going to be controlling the filter cutoff, but I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to hit the expression button, and I'm actually going to select the wave shape for oscillator 1, but I'm going to make it really subtle so that we can't hear it for now, and we'll return to that later. The next thing that I want to change in the settings menu is in the clock divide menu, and I'm going to set that to a 7 setting, which is going to allow the Messenger and the DFAM to step together in time. So anytime it receives a clock pulse from DFAM, the Messenger will step 1 step forward so that the 2 will be moving together. Now I have an initialized patch. I'm going to add a little bit of release to that. And we're just listening to oscillator 1 set to a sawtooth, the filter's wide open, and I'm going to go ahead and record a sequence. So I'll go to this direction button, set it to seek. I'm going to turn record on, and I'm going to enter a 32-step sequence. So I'll turn record off, and then I'll hit play. You'll notice that the sequencer is not starting because it's actually waiting for clock from DFAM. So this is just a way to arm the sequencer so that when I hit play on DFAM, the 2 will start together. So I'll go ahead and do that, and we can listen. Bring the filter down. And I'll actually add some release to the filter envelope as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and use the external input knob to introduce DFAM. You can hear there's enough gain on this knob to really drive DFAM and get nice distorted results. I'm going to transpose down oscillator 1 so I get a lower pattern. And now the next thing that I want to do is actually use the keyboard sample and hold to get the filter moving around in tempo with the 2 instruments. So I'll go into settings, I'll hit keyboard sample and hold, and I'm going to set it to modulate the filter open a bit. You can already hear it happening. Just giving us a little bit of random movement to the filter cutoff. And I'm going to go ahead and increase resonance as well. Now we can look at using the pitch row to modulate oscillator 1's wave shape. So I'm going to hit the settings button and then hit expression, and I'm actually going to turn this almost all the way up. You can already hear it changing. And so if I set it right there, we can hear that our pulse width is just on the edge of hitting silence, and we have the pitch row turned all the way up, so that is where I want the wave shaping to stop. So now we can start playing with these knobs. So now you can hear we're getting this really interesting wave movement happening with oscillator 1. Now we can introduce some of oscillator 2 on DFAM. And I'm just setting it up to have this FM sound. And I'm going to hide that a little bit under DFAM's filter. And so now that we've done this, the nice thing is we can continue to mess with some of what Messenger is doing. So for example, let's say we take oscillator 2 and we drop it to the lowest octave. I'm going to set it to have a little bit of wave folding happening. And then I'm actually going to use LFO1 to bring it in and out of our mix. And the way that I'm going to do that is by holding this keyboard reset button where you can see it says LFO1 assign above until we get this assignment view, and then I'm going to set it to bring in oscillator 2's waveform. And so now if I set oscillator 2 to the middle of its range, you can see that LFO1 is bringing it in and out. And I can even use the envelopes on Messenger to gate DFAM. And it can even be interesting to explore some of the other filter modes like bandpass. And I'll hit the res bass button. Maybe turn on keyboard tracking. And while all of this is happening, we can still transpose our sequence if we'd like to. So as you can see, once you add another instrument that's able to interact with some of the I/O on Messenger, you can get into really interesting territories that add a lot more functionality, and the two instruments can become more than the sum of their parts.